Hey guys, how you doing? It's Joshua from Wholesale Rebels, and on today's video I'm going to show you how to wholesale real estate step by step. Okay guys, so let's first start with this. What the heck is wholesaling? Well, to put it simply, wholesaling is the process of bringing a seller of a house and a buyer of a house together and making money in between for providing that service. First of all, you might have heard it said saying that you're actually flipping a house when you wholesale, or you're helping the seller find a buyer. Using terms like this is actually illegal. Unless you're a real estate agent, that is not what you are doing, okay? And it's very important that you pay attention to this, guys, because this can get you in a ton of trouble. Essentially and technically, what you're doing as a wholesaler is that you are flipping a contract, okay? You're getting a contract for a home at a certain price point, let's say $25,000, and that you're selling it to a rehabber or a cash buyer at a higher price point, let's say $50,000. And the spread between the $25,000 and the $50,000 is your take-home money. That's what we call in the business an assignment fee. So we're going to show you how to do this in 8 simple steps. Now, before we get into it, if you look below, I actually put a Rebel cheat sheet that goes over all the ways we find and close deals all over the country from beginning to end in a sheet. And also, I put a link for the Facebook group where you can ask me questions one-on-one and I can respond in there quickly. Okay, so let's get into the video. So the first thing you need to do as a wholesaler to make money in this business is you need to commit. If you don't have the time, energy, and resources to commit at least 3 months to 6 months of your life to this process, you need to stop now. Why? You're going to get frustrated and you're going to quit before you make money, okay? And I'm not just talking about 1 deal or 2 deals. I'm talking about 10 deals, 20, 30, 40, 50. So if you want to wholesale real estate for the long term, you need to commit and mentally tell yourself that you're in this for the long haul, okay? How I did this when I was first starting out is I went out and started an LLC in this business. I'm in the state of Maryland. I want to go and pay my $200 to my local state department office and actually created a business so I can do wholesale deals, okay? When I did that, I signaled to myself and everybody around me that I was committed to this process. Okay, enough of that. Let's actually get to what you need to know, okay? Setting deals and closing deals boils down to 2 things. Everything else around this is just what gets you to the main point, okay? It's setting appointments and taking appointments. The more appointments you take with sellers, the more your phone rings, the more deals you're gonna close, okay? The difference between closing 1 deal a month and 50 deals a month is how many appointments you are getting with sellers. So the first thing you need to do is find a pipeline of motivated sellers that come to you and ask you to buy their property. 2, in how to wholesale houses step by step is market research. And what I mean by market research is actually finding the sellers that you're going to be getting your deals from, okay? There are many sources of sellers and they're called motivated sellers in the business, but I like to call them situational sellers. And the reason why I call them situational sellers is that these people are selling their home, often at discounted prices, based on the situations that they find themselves in life. Okay, people ask me all the time, why would somebody sell their home at a discounted price unless they're stupid or silly, okay? And what I say is that because of the situation they're in, they have the pressure to sell the house at a discounted price because they're often looking for cash and often looking to close in a short time frame. Let's go over some examples. Number 1, a divorce. One of the deals that I've done in the past is from a couple who actually got a divorce. And because of the divorce, they needed to sell their family home to go their separate ways. And because of this situation, again, they were able to do it at a discounted price because they needed to do it rather quickly. Another example of a situational seller is a death in the family. Let's say the original homeowner owned the home but passed away. The children and the grandchildren want to sell the house and get cash for it, and they're willing to do it at a discounted price. Number 3 situation, the house needs a lot of repairs and they can't sell it at after repair value, or what we call retail value. So because of that, they're forced to take a lower price on the home because nobody's gonna buy it as it is. So there are many examples of people in situational positions where they need to sell their home, and I mentioned all of them in the Rebel cheat sheet below. Okay? Number 3 is that after you talk to the motivated sellers, you need to set and take appointments. Okay? The more appointments you take, the more your phone rings, the more you meet with sellers, the more deals you're going to do. So when you go and meet with the seller, this is when you talk to them and ask them, why are they selling the house? What situation are they in? What are they looking for as far as cash price for their house? And how much do they think their home is worth? Okay, a rebel trick that I use here is I'm actually going to go to the home and tell the seller, hey, why don't you flip it yourself? Or why don't you rent it out yourself? And I do that because, listen, they know they can fix it up themselves, but oftentimes they don't want to do it for specific reasons. And when you get the reason why they don't want to do it, that's how you're going to close the deal. For a specific example, I went to a home, the person had passed away, and I asked the sellers, why aren't you just fixing the property yourself? You know what the home is worth. And the seller told me, hey, I don't want to deal with this. It's too emotional of a process for me to change anything in the house myself. And with that information, I was able to get the deal signed at $15,000 underneath the original seller's asking price. And the reason is because I listened when I set the appointment. So the purpose of setting the appointment and talking to the seller is to understand the situation they're in, understand why they're selling, and coming up with a fair value for the home that you know that you can use to flip it to another buyer. And this leads me to step number 4. You need to do research on the property. So after having a conversation with the seller on the phone and setting an appointment to see the property, you need to pull comps or comparables on the property to know how much the home is worth. In the Rebel cheat sheet, I go over this more in detail, but a trick that I use if you don't have access to the multiple listing service in your area is to go on Zillow and look up homes that have been sold in the last 6 months on the same street, okay, or in the nearby area. And you take an average of those homes, and that will give you a ballpark idea of what the home is worth, okay? And when you get what the home is worth, then you can make an offer that we call the maximum allowable offer. And this is how you come up with it. For most places in the country, the maximum allowable offer is the after repair value, or what you think the home will be worth after it's been sold by looking on Zillow, minus 70%, okay? So we'll use $100,000 as an example in this case, okay? So it's what the home will be worth, the after repair value, minus 70%, minus repairs, and minus your fees. That is what we call the maximum allowable offer. So for instance, if a house is worth $100,000, at 70%, that's $70,000. Let's say it needs $20,000 worth of work. So now you're at $50,000. And let's say you want to make $10,000 on this deal because it's your first deal. So now you're at $40,000. So your maximum allowable offer is $40,000 or less. If you wanted to only make $5,000 on this deal, then your maximum allowable offer will be $45,000 or less. Okay? And then you go into this meeting armed with this information when talking to the seller, knowing exactly how much you can offer. After you've met with the seller, you go to the property, take a contract with you. One of the things that my real estate mentors taught me is that if you don't get the deal signed right there and then when you meet the seller, your chances of getting the deal drops by 50%. So it's super important to get the deal closed right there and then. I take a contract with me to every appointment I go to. Okay? At the very minimum, you want to submit your offer. So you meet with the seller, you take the appointment, you present your offer, you have a conversation with them, and then you get your offer accepted. After you get your offer accepted, you go to step 5, and that is finding the cash buyer. So a lot of people worry and start with finding cash buyers, and that's actually the easiest part of the process. Guys, if you have a good deal, cash buyers will come. This is one of the biggest part of the real estate investing that you actually do not need to stress about. Once you have a deal under contract, you can put it on websites such as myhousedeals.com. You can put it on Zillow. You can put it on the MLS as another strategy. And you can call up people who are investors in the area and offer them to take a look at the property that you have for sale or the contract you have for sale. Once you have a cash buyer that wants to buy the property at a price that you've listed, so for instance, if we got the contract for $40,000, I would sell it to the rehabber or the cash buyer for $50,000, knowing that my fee, my assignment fee in between will be $10,000. Once you've offered this property to the cash buyer at $50,000 and it's accepted, then you go to step 6, and that is finding a title company or an attorney. Okay? So all real estate transactions are either closed by a title company or an attorney in your state. Once you have all the paperwork, which is the contract between yourself and the seller, the contract between yourself and the buyer, you take both contracts and you send it over to the title company. The title company then does all the transactions and processing, pulls title, and does a couple of things in the background to get the deal ready to close. Everything will look good, and then the title company will set a closing date and reach out to you and the buyer and the original seller as to when everybody will get paid. Step 7 is that after the title company does all of this, closing date is announced, and in step 8, you close the property and you get paid. This is exactly how you wholesale real estate step by step. So guys, if you feel like this video provided you a lot of value, if you want to learn more, go ahead and click the subscribe button below. Go ahead and ask me any questions in the comments. And please, please, please get the Wholesale Rebel cheat sheet. I go over everything in detail, step by step, everything you need to know in about 25 pages with images and pictures to go ahead with it. So guys, catch you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and like and comment. Joshua Lufa from Wholesale Rebels signing out.